Christ's sake. Fucking Tourette's. I haven't got Tourette's, I'll just got your attention. Now, what I have got though, I was diagnosed this year with ADHD. This is a true story. Late diagnosis, now I got to wear my personality type as an item of clothing. I always knew there was something a bit different about me. The ADH was new, but I always knew that I was a bit of a dickhead. Now I'm an ADH dickhead, so it's fair enough, I've got a label, we all want a label, we all love a label. I thought I'm special, turns out everybody's special these days. There's going to be a point in a couple of years' time when the last remaining half a dozen neurotypical people get relabelled as being untypically neurotypical. Then we've all got a label, we're all happy, we can all start again. Is that all right? Good stuff. I mean, I'm not kidding. Literally, the whole world is bipolar. I mean, you've got the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle. There's just one extreme to the other, isn't it? Although, if you think about it, the Arctic Circle, the Antarctic Circle, pretty similar, pretty much the same all year round. Pretty fucking shit metaphor for bipolar. But we love a label, we do all love a label. You've probably got me labelled as a fucking angry northerner. Or as we like to call ourselves, a northerner. And to be fair, I've got quite a lot to be angry about. I grew up in a little town called Warrington. Warrington is famous for fuck all. Honestly, our most famous son, Luke Littler, world darts champion. A hairy, short, fat, chain-smoking, alcoholic teenager who hasn't actually been out in daylight since he was 12. He's like some sort of obese, juvenile vampire, which is nice. Our most famous daughter, Kerry Katona. One for the kids. If you don't remember Kerry Katona or you don't know who she is, she's famous because her septum fell out. You can tell Warrington is aspirational. In fact, the local towns around us, places like St Helens, Wigan, they have a little anthem that they sing. If we ever play them at a sporting event or meet them in sort of cultural conference, all the other towns will sing this little tune to us. It's very easy, very simple lyrics. You can probably join in. The words are, oh, wanky wanky, wanky wanky, wanky wanky, Warrington. There you go, that's us. We sit in between those two giants of the northwest. We sit between Liverpool and Manchester, exactly halfway in the middle, which means they've finally found something they're united by. Not just united, but united in a common hatred and pity that they hold for us. So we have the great city of Manchester, home of Oasis. The great city of Liverpool, home of the Beatles. The great town of Warrington, the place where George Formby is buried. Fucking great. He's not even from Warrington. He's from fucking Wigan. Like, they should put that on the road sign. Warrington, where people from Wigan come to die. Alongside, twinned with Purgatory and Gomorrah. Purgatory? Not sure why. We're still waiting for that one. Gomorrah? Well, it could have been Sodom. But, you know, each to their own. Not my bag, but at least we know what they do in Sodom. We know what it's famous for. Gomorrah, not a fucking clue, and that's Warrington. Honestly, those two cities, they don't like us at all. To Manx, hey, you, hey, you're a plastic scouser, mate, and kid, you're a plastic scouser, innit, Scousers won't have that, they won't have us as scousers. You what? You're not a fucking scouser, you! You're not a foreign scouser! You're a fucking woolly-bach! A fucking woolly-bach! To be honest, I'd rather be plastic. No, I'd rather be woolly than plastic. But when a scouser has a go, you get covered in speck, so, you know, it's not the best world. I do have to say, to come from in between those two cities, we feel like the metaphorical equivalent of a Jehovah's Witness door knocking in East Jerusalem. Doesn't really matter who answers the door, they fucking hate you more. Now, of those two cities, I do gravitate more towards Liverpool fan. Dad works in Liverpool, Liverpool's my city, and if I'm being honest, I think Liverpool is actually very similar, in a lot of respects, to Bristol. Except that more of you have got jobs. But you have that weird bit as well, that bit where Tarquin and Lavinia, round here, he goes to Bristol University, didn't get into Oxford and Cambridge. Whereas if you go to Liverpool University, it means you didn't get out of the Northwest. And if you go to Liverpool Poly, John Moore's University, no, Liverpool Poly, means you didn't get out of bed. And it's quite similar to what you've got going on with UWE. I genuinely overheard a couple of Bristol and UWE students talking, and the Bristol student said, you know, your father probably works for my father. And the UWE student said, yeah, but while you were doing your essay, I was shagging your missus, so, you know. Of those cities, Liverpool is mine, and I do think that some of it, the similarities with Bristol relate to that sort of being a western seaport, you know, to being one of those Atlantic ports. Grew up in the slave trade area. Liverpool, like Bristol's had a black community for 400 years. And you've got to balance the positives and the negatives of that history that we share. So there's bad things we need to reconcile ourselves to. So for example, we've got 400 years of the slave trade, the destruction of indigenous cultures in Africa, tens of thousands dying in cargo holds of ships in the Middle Passage, to those who may bitterly call themselves lucky survivors being sold into centuries of intergenerational slavery, where human lives are bought and sold and traded as commodities for the benefit of some rich white men. And then on the plus side, we've got great music, and you can get jerk chicken in town, so you know, swings and roundabouts, the circle of life, and cream of a fucking tartar, folks, here. Now, I keep you in a circle of life. I've got to finish now because the little guy's been flashing at me, so he's either trying to pull me or he's telling me to get off. But I did think I'd like do something circle of life. I'd go back to where I started at the beginning, I'd come full circle, I'd say something clever, and we'd wrap it all up at the end. But the great thing about ADHD is I haven't a fucking clue what that was. For fuck's sake!